was one of the most famous painters of the Victorian era. His talent developed early, and he had the first showing of his work at the Royal Academy when he was only 13 years of age. He was commissioned to do a number of official portraits of the royal family and even gave private drawing lessons to Queen Victoria and Prince Albert. But he was best known for his depictions of the natural settings and life in the Scottish Highlands. One day, as he was visiting a family in an old mansion in Scotland, one of the servants there in the mansion spilled a pitcher of soda water, leaving a large stain on the wall. While the family was out for the day, Landseer remained behind. Using charcoal, he incorporated the stain into a beautiful drawing. When the family returned, they found a picture of a waterfall surrounded by trees and animals. He had used his God-given skill to make something beautiful out of what had been a very unsightly mess. You see, God often works in much the same way in our lives. The old things, the old ways of living, the old actions, the old thoughts in our lives can, through the grace of God, be changed and can be transformed and made into something beautiful. Something wonderful can come from that transformation. The key, though, is in your thought life. Proverbs says it this way: "For as a man thinks in his heart, so is he." Proverbs 23:7. Your life will always move in the direction of your strongest thoughts. If you think you can't, you probably won't. If you think you can, you most likely will. If you dwell on problems, problems will overwhelm you. If you look for opportunities, you are likely going to find opportunities. If you feel like a victim, you'll become one. If you believe that you can overcome, then you can overcome. If you're always worried about your children, your money, your health, your job, your future, you will never find rest and you will never experience peace. If you're always negative, critical of people, finding fault, then you will always be discontented. Don't copy the behavior and customs of this world, but let God transform you into a new person by changing the way that you think. Then you will learn to know God's will for you, which is good and pleasing and perfect. That was Romans chapter 12, verse number 2 from the New Living Translation. So how do you change the way that you think? Well, by capturing destructive thoughts. Paul talked about this in the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse number 3, when he said, "For though we live in the world, we do not wage war as the world does." Verse 4, "The weapons that we fight with are not the weapons of the world. On the contrary, they have divine power to demolish strongholds." Verse 5, "We demolish arguments and every pretension that sets itself up against the knowledge of God, and we take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ." That again was 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verses 3 through 5. All of your thoughts need to fall into one of two categories: truth or trash. Trash says, "I'll never be able to make a difference after what I did." Truth says, "I'm not what I did. I am who God says I am." Trash says, "I'm stuck in this." Truth says, "I am an overcomer by the blood of the Lamb." Trash says, "You've blown it. It's over." Truth says, "God works all things together for my good." So fix your thoughts on spiritual things. Change your thoughts by fixing them on the truths, and not the trash, but the truths of the Word of God. Change your thoughts. Change your life. And now, dear brothers and sisters, one final thing. Fix your thoughts on what is true and honorable and right and pure and lovely and admirable. Think about things that are excellent and worthy of praise. Then the God of peace will be with you. That is from Philippians chapter 4, verses 8 through 9 from the New Living Translation. So today, get rid of that old way of thinking. And in so doing, you will get rid of that old way of living and start living according to the truth of the Word of God.